What happens when a powerful millionaire walks into his office late, only to find a giant snake waiting for him? He freezes in fear until his humble maid whispers, just 2 words that change everything. What happens next will leave you stunned, so watch till the end. The millionaire, Mr. Adrian Cole, was known for his punctuality, but that particular morning he arrived at his office much later than usual. His black luxury car rolled into the driveway as the golden rays of the sun were already high above the skyline. Inside the tall glass building, silence seemed heavier than normal, as if the air itself was holding its breath. Adrian adjusted his tie, muttering about late meetings and lost time. As he pushed open the heavy oak doors of his private office, a chilling sight awaited him. In the center of the polished marble floor coiled a massive, glistening snake, its scales shimmering like armor. His heart pounded in his chest, a cold sweat forming on his forehead. The snake's tongue flickered in and out, testing the air with quiet menace. Adrian froze, caught between fear and disbelief. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. For a long moment he stood completely still, unsure whether to run or call security. But just as panic began to consume him, a soft sound broke the silence. From behind the half-open door came his maid, Clara, a simple woman who had served in his household for years. Her presence was oddly calm, her face serious but not panicked. She raised one finger to her lips, signaling Adrian to remain absolutely silent. His instincts screamed at him to shout, to order people in, to demand the snake be removed, but something in her steady eyes stopped him. It was as if she knew something he didn't, something far deeper than the obvious danger. Adrian, for the first time in years, obeyed someone other than himself. He swallowed hard, holding his breath, waiting for what she would do next. Clara slowly stepped into the office, her worn shoes making almost no sound on the marble floor. She kept her eyes locked on the giant snake, which had begun to raise its head ever so slightly. Its scales glistened under the office lights, and the sight was both beautiful and terrifying. Adrian's heart raced faster, but Clara's calm hand stretched out as though she had done this many times before. Her whisper was so soft he almost didn't hear it. Do not move, sir. It's not here to harm you yet. Adrian's mind swirled with confusion. Not here to harm me yet? What did that mean? The snake's body shifted and Adrian thought his time was over. But Clara seemed strangely certain of every motion, her confidence unshaken. Adrian's thoughts flashed to his empire, the billions he controlled, the buildings, the staff who jumped at his orders. Yet in that moment, with a serpent at his feet, all his wealth seemed useless. Clara, a humble maid who cleaned his shoes and polished his tables, was suddenly the one holding authority. She whispered again, "This snake, it belongs here more than you know." Adrian's jaw clenched as her words echoed in his head. How could she say something so absurd in such a terrifying moment? Still, he dared not interrupt her, for fear that a single sound would awaken the beast's fury. Clara moved a step closer to the snake, her hands folded calmly in front of her as though in prayer. Adrian could hardly believe his eyes. The snake's golden eyes fixed on Clara, and for a brief instant, Adrian swore he saw recognition in its gaze. The creature lowered its head slightly, no longer coiling in threat but almost in acknowledgement. Clara's lips moved in an ancient chant, words Adrian had never heard before. It wasn't English nor any language he could identify. The sound was soft, rhythmic, and strangely soothing. The snake's movements grew slower, its tension easing, as though the melody was wrapping it in peace. Adrian stood paralyzed, unable to comprehend what he was witnessing. Who was this maid really? How could she calm a beast that could end his life in seconds? When Clara finally paused, she turned her face toward Adrian. "This snake is not ordinary," she whispered. "It carries the memory of this building before it was yours." Adrian blinked, startled and confused. He remembered buying the land years ago, building his empire from the ground up. But what memory could a snake possibly carry? Clara explained softly, "Long before your towers rose, this land was sacred. What you see is the guardian that watches over it." Adrian's knees weakened as he absorbed her words. He wanted to laugh at the absurdity, but the living, breathing monster in front of him made mockery impossible. Clara seemed deadly serious, and the snake's calm posture only confirmed it. Adrian whispered back, breaking his silence, "Why me? Why is it here for me?" Clara shook her head, her expression filled with quiet sorrow. "Because you disturbed what was never yours," she said. "This office you walk into every morning is built on ground where prayers once rose to the skies. The guardian comes when greed has reached its peak. Adrian felt his throat tighten as if invisible hands were choking him. The snake's gaze turned toward him now, unblinking, sharp, and almost human in its intensity. He had always believed he owned everything he saw, but in that instant he felt smaller than ever. Clara's voice grew firmer now, a strength Adrian had never seen in her before. "If you want to survive this day, you must listen, not command," she warned. Adrian felt his pride crumble, forced to obey the one woman he had always dismissed as insignificant. The snake uncoiled slowly, sliding its massive body across the marble with a low hiss. Adrian's pulse pounded in his ears, each second stretching like eternity. He wanted to run, but Clara's hand shot up, commanding him to remain still. Then she whispered words that struck him harder than any threat. "The guardian does not kill without purpose. It waits for truth." Adrian's mind raced, searching for answers. What truth could this guardian possibly demand from him? Clara's eyes pierced his, and she whispered gently, "Confess what you've taken. Return what was never yours." His face burned with shame. He thought of the deals, the lands, the lives he had trampled to climb to power. Each memory rose like a ghost, suffocating him in the silence of the room. The snake's body surrounded him now, circling but not striking. Its eyes glowed brighter as if feeding off his guilt. Adrian's chest heaved. For the first time in his life, tears filled his eyes. Clara stood silently, waiting for him to break. Finally, with trembling lips, Adrian spoke. He confessed the lies, the greed, the land he had stolen, and the people he had crushed. His words echoed through the office like thunder, raw and broken. The snake hissed one final time before lowering its head to the floor, its body relaxing completely. Clara nodded softly as though the verdict had been delivered. She whispered one last time, "Now you see, sir, even the richest man must bow before truth." The snake slowly slithered away, disappearing into the shadows of the building. Adrian collapsed into his chair, drenched in sweat, shaken to his core. That day the mighty millionaire realized that sometimes the humblest whisper carries the loudest power.